Second point.
He can't even keep up with it.
I mean, God help the Argentinian that has to check him.
God help Ricky Rubio.
I'm about to say they better get Ricky Rubio help real quick.
Spain, not Argentina.
Okay, now do you think?
And they said Tony Parker got cleared.
Oh yeah,
he's gonna play.
He's gonna play.
Oh, okay.
For France.
Let's be real though.
They're French.
I don't think that anybody.
Sacre bleu.
The damn pansy French.
Croissant.
This USA team is gonna breeze through this Olympics. I'm a go USA. Of course, I'm in America. Go USA in the basketball, but are we really gonna sit here and say that any team has a chance against this USA basketball team?
They can't keep up with the athleticism.
I mean, the only thing.
Because BG's on the team too. Blake
Griffin's on the team too.
Blake Griffin's on the team. Lob City.
See, for me, the key for USA always is: do you have the outside shooters? Is Harden going to fall apart like he did in the finals? Because if he does,
you have Kevin Durant and Melo and Kobe
and LeBron
but
I don't think they.
And Eric Gordon didn't make it.
Eric Gordon was actually James Harden was picked over.
Yeah, Eric Gordon got the act.
Interesting.
Only because James Harden is bigger and he can play better defense than Eric Gordon.
Yeah, that's really what it is. What was funny?
I agree.
They had a story come out today, and they were saying that Kevin Durant still been kind of funny in practice because he hasn't gotten over the final. So he said he told the reporters it's weird practicing with LeBron and having to be his teammate because he's still in that mindset.
Yeah.
I just lost to you, motherfucker. Like,
motherfucker.
You know what I mean? Like they were saying that not necessarily they having a beef, but he just hasn't been able to fully get into his game because he's kind of and rightfully so. This man just made you look like, people had such high hopes for the Thunder. And, they get put down the way they did.
I feel like if I was Kevin Durant, I would have made a point not to be on the team.
You think so?
I think so, but that's mainly because I feel that, don't get me wrong, the USA team is always good for any player who's trying to get better. Like, I think it's going to be good for Westbrook.
Right.
Westbrook's never done it before. Kevin Durant's done it before.
Right.
Kobe Bryant's done it before. Carmelo Anthony's done it before. I think that if you've done it already, I think you should step out of the way and let the
younger guys.
So why didn't Dwight Howard come out for the team?
The back
surgery.
Oh, his back surgery. That's right.
Yeah, he's still not healthy.
Bosh didn't go back because of his knee.
Yeah, because I love Chandler, but I'd rather him come off the bench and have Howard at the starter.
Of course,
absolutely.
Right. That would have been. Oof.
But I mean, I think they have athletic enough big men.
Oh yeah, they'll be able to get by with what they got.
Kevin Love and Chandler
and Blake Griffin.
But see, he's more of a hybrid.
Now my whole thing is, are they gonna call goaltending? Because there's gonna be a lot of goaltending.
Oh man.
Like, I mean, let's look at the height. Look at the height advantages. Like, there's really no other forwards out there who are like a Kevin Durant or a LeBron James or a Carmelo Anthony.
That's their edge.
Yeah,
that's their edge. Is the size factor, because in some of these international teams you see very, very, very tall cats, but they can't move. Yeah. And so that's going to be our advantage. I think that's going to be the entire thing that sells our team this year: the athleticism, the speed. Like you said, a Westbrook coming off the bench. Seriously.
I mean, the guy that's going to be checking him is like, a shoemaker.
I feel bad. Right. Waiting on this all year.
He's. I just can't see anybody a second team player from, Iraq.
Well, let's just think about it.
Being able to check.
You got Westbrook, Melo, Kevin Love, BG, all in the second team?
Second team.
And
Iguodala on the second team?
And James Harden's probably on the third team.
Right, but it doesn't even matter. You're just waiting to see somebody get tired. Are you tired? Okay. Harden, go to the four. It doesn't even matter.
Kobe, you straight?
Kobe's starting to look like a serial killer though. Y'all seen his beard?
The beard.
He's looking old. He actually, I never thought I'd see Kobe look at the corner like, you sure you want to play this year? Like, he looks old.
That was a bad move growing that beard. Kind of like with Michael Jordan growing a little Hitler stash. I mean, it was a bad move. I don't think Kobe needed the beard and the goatee to make it.
But all the interviews he does, it's like, who's this old guy? Like, seriously. You look at LeBron, you look at Westbrook, all these baby face cats. Melo.
Time out. LeBron ain't no baby face cat now.
I mean, he's a man child, but LeBron has a youthful look to him. Yeah. He doesn't look old yet. That's really what I mean.
Have you seen his hairline lately?
That's why he wears those thicker headbands.
Yeah, those headbands. I heard his headband fell off. His headband fell off, and people were like, "Ooh."
He got that Benjamin Button. It's cool. But we digressed. I think I'm with you. I think USA they won't have a problem. For me, I pray that nobody gets injured. That's what I pray. I hope that nobody gets injured and it affects the season, because all those players are huge to their team.
Oh yeah, I don't think they even have to play at 100% to beat the teams they're going to play.
Well, you just think about, like, I keep thinking about Kobe. I could just see Kobe just trying to do too much.
Man, see, people forget that even though Kobe's old, look what he did in the NBA playoffs.
No, he hasn't.
He carried that entire LA Lakers team.
Right, but he needs to rest so he can carry them next year.
Now, I think Kobe's being on the team this year, kind of like on the Dream Team, how Magic and Bird were on the team.
This is his last month.
More ceremonial. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's the best. He's the oldest, top players in the NBA. He's going to be there at least for veteran leadership.
I hope they limit his minutes. You let Kobe score 18.
Well, LA's going to do something about that. They're going to.
Oh yeah, because like I said, you would hate. Can you imagine what the Lakers would be like without Kobe? With Steve Nash, Bynum, and Paul Gasol. Right. Right.
And Meta world peace.
And Meta, he's about to get moved.
I don't want him to move Meta, man. I like Meta, man.
I do too, but he's gonna get sent to the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, back home, man. St. John's.
He's going back home.
Now is this where you think Dwight Howard's going? He's going to LA?
No.
I know.
No.
You don't think Dwight Howard's going to LA?
I don't, because honestly, from LA standpoint, from a business standpoint, you finally had a good season out of Bynum. Why get rid of him? And he's younger than Dwight Howard.
True.
And he seems like, as far as injuries, it seems like those are behind him.
Well, I still think that they need to move one of those big men.
They're going to move. I think if anybody, it'd be Paul Gasol.
Yeah.
Because they rumored him, Minnesota, right?
Yeah. No, say that again?
They were talking about moving Paul to Minnesota.
Yeah, I heard that too. I heard Houston too. Houston loves Paul Gasol.
Houston is dying. Houston and the Blazers, more than any other team, are dying for a big man. Dying for some length.
One of them's going to get Kaman. I really feel like Kaman's going to wind up with one of them, because nobody's mentioning him.
Yeah.
And it's just like he's just sitting around waiting.
Yep.
And he's still even if no matter what, he's still one of the top.
When he's healthy, he's a damn good center.
Absolutely. So yeah, I think that about covers NBA.
Yeah, it about covers NBA.
Yeah, anything else we just be babbling.
We don't like
to waste y'all time.
We don't want to be Chris Broussard of the world.
So we could start talking about drugs in the NFL now.
Right. More arrests. More people getting locked up.
AP.
Adrian Peterson got hemmed up. He allegedly, I got to put that out there. Allegedly, he was asked to leave the club, and one side of the story says he refused, so he was immediately arrested. And the other side is saying that he was leaving the club, but the fact that he wasn't going in a way that the officers liked, they took force. So we don't have the exact story on which story is true. One end they're saying it's not his fault, another end they're saying he was a typical athlete.
Well, Adrian Peterson, I have never heard of an instance where he has been rude, disrespectful, anything of the sort. I've never heard any stories about him being an asshole or a jerk. So I find it really hard to believe that he just came out of the blue.
Yeah, you got to give him the pass to an extent, because he's really shown himself to be a responsible person. I really, I'm not worried about that whole thing.
I don't think they're getting in trouble, and as far as the league, because again, a lot of these smaller clubs trying to get notoriety. They prey on these players because they know they have the money. Yeah. They know instead of dealing with it all, they're just gonna pay it off.
I just can't understand this fascination with clubs.
Yeah.
I mean, these clubs are just like, all they do is just siphon your money out of your wallet, and I know that they're rich and everything, but it's just like you just wind up getting in trouble. Nothing good happens after 1 o'clock in the morning, like Tony Dungy says. I don't understand what the fascination is with going to the club, and half of these guys, they don't even go to dance. They just sit there sit there and they drink, and
the club is kind of like the modern day Coliseum. You know, you go in there and you flex your muscles, which you basically flex your wallet. You know, if you want to send a bottle your way, look at the Chris Brown Drake thing. That whole thing started off egos. Yeah. You know, and that's what plays a major point in the club. You know, you got these football players who think they the shit, or sugar honey iced tea, in other words. But you know,
old school. What happened to the days of the old Lawrence Taylor parties where everything was in house in a mansion? And it was a don't tell, don't ask policy.
That would be better, to be honest. That would be really
What happened to those days?
And you know, I understand that a lot of these guys, they get in trouble, you know, with you know, getting caught with DUIs because they just want to flash their rides, you know, and it's just like, really? Is it that petty that you know you have to bring out your new, you know, your new wheels to show off? I mean, come on, man, get a hobby.
Well, they could thank Pac-Man Jones and Michael Vick because he went to the symposium.
I was about to say, speaking of that, the symposium, and you were just talking about how Michael Irvin stole the show.
He did a great job, man. I mean, he really, I mean, he impacted me when he talked because
you don't want to go to no clubs.
Just talking about, you know, being the big man, going, you know, getting drafted out of Miami, walking into the club, and he's the big guy, and he's got the big contract, and some punk wants to walk up to him, you know, and you know, just talk crap, and he basically goes down to this guy's level. And that's what it comes down to. These guys, you know, they go down to these other fellas' level because these other guys didn't spend the time working. They didn't spend the time committing and dedicating themselves to whatever they're trying to do. Mm-hmm. And these, you know, like he said, 250 positions here in front of me. 250 positions in the NFL. Hey, man, you know, I mean, and there's 70,000 people who would kill for those positions.
Absolutely.
It's like you have to understand that.
You have to recognize the privilege.
Yeah.
Some cats are so naturally talented, and you got to think about it. In high school and college, you're so pampered. And, you know, especially with these big programs, they don't make you do anything. They don't hold you accountable. When you get in trouble, they sweep it under the rug. I played college football. I can tell you a lot of stories that never hit the papers. Guys getting arrested, guys getting caught up with girls, with prostitutes, with drugs. Man, they don't let that stuff come out. We know about it on the team. But as far as it being public, man, they shelter these guys. So they get to the NFL and they get these big contracts. That's the most dangerous thing in the world. Mm-hmm. Money and no education of yourself.
Yeah.
Look at the University of Georgia. They just had an instance where they lost their top running back. They lost Isaiah Crowell, the running back from last year. Yeah. Had an excellent year, you know, from Columbus, Georgia.
That's a big hit for Georgia.
That is a big hit.
Dealing with guns, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have these guys in college who they live this lifestyle. You know, even in the past, the guy from USC, not USC, who just started going crazy. I got people because, you know, he's a big man on campus, you know. Yeah. Once you get these attitudes and you take them to the NFL level, you know, then things get real. Mm-hmm. Like, Justin Blackman learned that lesson.
Oh, yeah.
You know, a lot of guys are learning
He's going to definitely ought to be thinking about that because now he's going to have to earn his next contract. He's going to have to earn the right to get paid. Because, I mean, they're going to give him a good amount of money, but it's not going to be what he could have gotten.
Oh, he's going to get the rookie scale. Like, right now, the NFL has it, so they get a scale. But the Jaguars are being smart. They're protecting themselves from this knucklehead.
And rightfully so. And shout out, I got to give a shout out to Brian Banks. He was a gentleman who's been in jail. Mm-hmm. He was accused of rape. And then the girl pretty much came out last year and said, I lied. And he's been in jail like 4 years. So he's been getting tryouts, and he hasn't got picked up yet. He had a tryout with the Niners, he had a tryout with the Seahawks. And all the coaches, you know, it's a slim shot, you know, because nobody had any college tape on him.
Right.
But they were saying for him to have been locked up, he's in great shape, and he did well. He retained the game well. So I think if you give him a year or two, maybe he goes on like a Georgia Force or something of that nature, and builds his rep up, I think he can make it in the league because he has the size, he has the athleticism. And shout out to him, man. For second chance, and it wasn't ever his fault.
Right.
Great story. So, you know, and like I said, Pete Carroll was like, you know, I can't make any promises now. He said, but I'm going to definitely keep my eye on him. He said the biggest thing he needs, you know, is the experience. You know, because he's been locked away. Yeah. But, you know, shout out to him. And I think the biggest story in the NFL right now is Drew Brees, man. What is going on in New Orleans?
They're tripping.
I don't know what they're thinking. After this whole bounty scandal, I guess the heads are getting a little scared. You know, they're not trying to put all their eggs in one basket. But you talk about, if not the best quarterback in the NFL, at least top 3.
Top 3, absolutely.
We'll take him on the Jets.
I mean, if this guy doesn't play, where does your team go? I mean, without Drew Brees, the Saints are what?
The Saints.
They're 4